First of all, take the vertical measurement. This line here will become our waistline, the beginning of this paper. Then we are going to mark our hip length, which is 12 for me. You should be able to mark your own hip length, not my own hip length. Then we'll mark our knee length, which is 24. Then I'll mark my full length. You're the one that will determine what your full length should be. So probably I'll make it 34. For us to know where our pattern is going to be ending, we need to get our horizontal measurement, and how to do that is by dividing your highest measurement by 4 and adding your sewing allowance. And for my measurement, my highest measurement is my round hip, which is 54 divided by 4. So I'll come here and mark my 13.5. I'll also mark out the 2 inches sewing allowance so that we can see 13.5 plus 2 inches, that's 15.5. 13.5. Then we'll connect these dots, these lines together to form a straight line so that we can see what we are working with. I've connected these vertical lines and I need to connect these ones horizontally. So from the waistline, you mark your waist circumference, which is, for me, is 33. I'll divide it by 4. 33 divided by 4 is 8.25 or 8/4. I'll mark it here. I'll add my sewing allowance plus 2. At the hip line, I'll mark my round hip, which is what we use in getting this folding. So it's already, I already know that is 13.5, which is here, and then this is my sewing allowance. At the hip line, from the side front, you take 2 inches measurement down this way, take it down here, mark it here and here. See, when some people finish sewing a skirt or a dress, at the hip point it has this sharp ear, I call it ear sharp, this sharp point here. This is going to help you eliminate that. At the knee length, to get your round knee, your round hip minus 8 divided by 4 is 11.5. Now if you don't want your skirt to be as fitted as mine, you can decide to do 54 minus 7 or minus 6 or minus 5 divided by 4. So I'm going to mark 11.5 at my knee length here, and then plus 2 inches, that is 13.5, which is here. Then at this full length, I am going to go in, you know, this is the sewing here is 13.5, which is the sewing allowance at the knee. I'll just come down here because it's the same thing and go in by 2 inches. Now you can decide to go, not go in at all and just from the knee take it straight. You can decide to go in by 1.5. Me, I go in by 2 inches so that we really show that, you know, fitted vibe. But it all depends on you. So I'll go in here and I'll now come and take my actual measurement. So this one is going to be my sewing allowance. This is going to be my actual way I'm going to be sewing on together. So I'll connect here to here using my ruler. I will connect from these 2 inches I marked below the hip line to my knee length. Better. I'll connect it here. Then I'll connect sewing allowance to sewing allowance as well. To connect the waist to the hip line, I'm going to use my hip curve. If you have your drafting kit, that curve on it, you can also use it. It's the same thing. At the center front, so you're going to come down by 1 inch. So at the waist here, you go from here, it will be 0.50 like this. So now you will connect from here, this 0.50, from this point to this point. We are going to cut off here, but we won't cut it off now until you have drafted your back pattern. The reason for doing this is sometimes you see someone's skirt or a dress and they have this multiple folds, like a lot of fabric gathered that between the waist and the hip side. This will eliminate that. I'm going to come here and mark out 1.5 inches for the zip allowance. So you mark here, you'll mark it vertically 1.5 inches, 1.5, and connect the dots and make the lines into a straight line. Okay, this is your zip allowance. So now this will be your new center back or zip side. So you are going to place the front pattern on top the back pattern and let it align with the 1.5 inches measurement here. At the hip line here, you come and mark it out, let it like coincide, which is 12. At the waistline, you go in by 1 inch. You go in by 1 inch. At the knee line, you also go in by 1 inch, 1 inch, and then at the full length you also go in by 1 inch. At the hip line, my round hip is 54, so I'll be using 2.5, marking it up and down. So you can see what I did here. You can see how this is 1, and then down here I'll mark 5. So at the waist part, you go in by 1 inch. Then at this hip line, instead of you to go in, you're going to go up and down by 2.5 inches. But if you have like a hip of maybe, let's say like 40 to 46, you can use 2 inches. Then maybe 36 or 34 to like 38, you can use like 1.5 up and down. The knee length, you're going to go in by 1 inch. At the full length, you're going to go in by 1 inch. From this 1 inch here at the waistline here, you connect it to this 2.5 inches above the hip line. Then from the 2.5 inches below the hip line, you connect it to this 1 inch at the knee length. Then from the 1 inch at the knee length, you connect it to the 1 inch at the full length, and we are done with the back of our pencil skirt. You don't need all these places. You don't need all these places. So we are going to cut it off now. This is the front pattern. This is the back pattern. So the last thing we need to do is to input back our new zip allowance. Mark that original 1.5 that we marked before. 1.5, 1.5, 1.5. At the hip line, it's going to remain the same because remember, we didn't remove any 1 inch inwards. Rather, we went up and down by 2.5 inches. Remember, please recollect. If you remember, please let me know in the comment section so I know that you guys are following me. So this now will be your new zip allowance. Please like, comment on this my video. It helps me a lot. Thumbs up this video, and I will see you. Please subscribe as well. Please don't forget to subscribe. Share my video with your friends, and I'll see you in my next one.